Hello and welcome to EGW Writings Tech Tips. I'm your host, Daryl Thompson. Thank you for joining us today in another of our series on learning how to use the EGW Writings app on Mac OS. Now, I'm using a MacBook here, specifically an M1 MacBook, and I'm running the operating system Big Sur. You may be using Monterey. It doesn't matter. It's very similar. In this app, we actually built it for Monterey, but I'm running it on an earlier version of the operating system, so don't be distracted by that. Now you can see in front of me here, I've opened the app up to the main home screen. And in the main home screen, what we're going to show you today is this toolbar. I'm going to run through all the different features and functions so that you can learn what each one of them can do and what it does, the function of it. Now the first one on the far left here is the go backwards. So this is like your history. If I click on that, it takes me to my previous action, and then I can click forward. And I can also do that by swiping on my trackpad. So I can swipe back and forth on my trackpad across to do the same action. And you can see up there, see how it goes forward and back in my action? Okay, if I go too far, it brings up my notification, but there we are there. So if I don't swipe from the edge, it will bring in your notification. But if you swipe sort of in the center part of your trackpad, it's like navigating through on this forward and back through the app. Now the next icon there, it looks like a house. No, it does exactly that. If I swipe here back into the book, and I'm in the reading a book here or searching, all I need to do to get back to the home screen is click on the little home icon and it brings me back to my home screen. Now, the next series that we have here, as a series of 3, is displaying thumbnails, which is the mode that I'm in now, or I can switch it by clicking on List View. And you can see on the home screen here that it's switched from thumbnails to listing in a list. Now, if I go back to thumbnails here, I need to jump into a book. So let me jump into the book, and that brings us to the next one. And that is, it's a quick content tree manager. So if I'm in the book here and I'm scrolling through, I can click on that and it will bring me up to showing me my contents. Because I may not have open at the side here, I may not have open my tree. See, I can, when we get to a later icon, I'm going to show that, but I'll just show it now. I can hide it. And then I want to have quick access to my chapter, I can be navigating through here. So we've built that into it in case you have the table of contents or your library tree closed. Okay, I'm just going to open that up because we'll get to that in just a moment. The next one here is the play. So if I'm in a book here and I want to play this book, I just click on the play icon and it will start to play. I can click on the pause and it will pause. If I want to jump through to the next chapter or the previous chapter, this is my next and previous navigations. Now, if I want to jump into the full player, I click on this one here, which opens up the full player for the app. This gives me a more detailed view of my chapters. I can skip forward, I can skip back 10 seconds, I can play, I can pause, I can scrub through the timeline. All of that is there. And I can close that little pop-out window again, and it will be closed. So that is the player window. So this icon here that you see, which is the globe, the blue globe, this enables you to set search and the app either online and offline. Now, online mode, this enables you, if you're connected to the internet, to search online with our servers. And we have many indexes, actually hundreds of indexes built, which will speed up the search. However, if you do not have an internet connection, you'll want to be in offline mode. So this is how I like to set up my Mac, and you can set it up however you like. I like to click on the blue globe. I like to have the application online and then select automatically. That means that if I lose my internet connection, it will automatically then switch to being able to read the books and search the books that I have downloaded. And we'll teach you in a later tutorial how to use the download. Right here, you can see that we have set select automatically and online. which means I'll have all the online services to our EGW Cloud. If I happen to, though, set the application offline, that means that this app, even if I have an internet connection up here, will not be able to talk to the internet. So if you are having issues with bandwidth and having to pay for every megabyte of bandwidth that you download from the internet, then you can put this app into offline application mode and the app will no longer use any data. Now, you cannot stream the audiobooks unless you download them. You cannot read any books that you haven't downloaded. You cannot search any books that you yet to download. You must have downloaded those books first. So that is there. I'm going to switch it back to online application and select automatically. Now, the next icon here is your study center. And when you click this, we'll get in and teach you later on how you use the study center. But that's how you can access it, or you can actually access it also up through the window. Now, and we went through that in the menu bar before. Now, the next one here is history. That's very useful if you are wanting to jump back, and it records the last 100 steps. So if I click on this, it'll show me the last 100 books which I have been browsing or reading. The next one, of course, is what I mentioned a minute ago, was the download manager. This one is where you can go ahead and you can download like all the books. So you can go through and you can select them, or you can deselect them. So like I can, select all, or I could deselect all, and then once I select all, I could go and download everything. But I suggest that you download by collection, because it actually will slow down the app and the application if you download everything. So it's just a little bit of advice. You can do it if you've got a super fast Mac with lots of memory, but it's best if you probably download the core essentials, and I'll teach you that when we get to that section of the app. You can also notice over here that there's a couple other sections, but we're going to teach you about the download manager later on and all that you can do. The next one, of course, is choosing your default Bible version. So you come in here, and the one that you've chosen as your default, I've chosen the King James Version. I have a little check mark beside it, but you can go and say, click AKJV, and now that's your default version, that when you click on Bible links within the reader, that's the version that will open up. I actually want to set it back to KJV. This icon here is your subscriptions, and this is how you can get in and out of your subscriptions reader. The next one is your copy icon. So if I'm actually here and I've selected some text, so let me just come through here. Let me come into here and select the text. So I'll select the text there, and I can come up here and I could copy. Now, we're going to teach you about this little copy tool and the study center toolbar that pops up here, but we'll get into that separately. The next one, of course, is print, and it'll also print the same things like copy does. So you have a very similar here. They look very similar to each other, but I'll just come in here and I'll explain first on the copy. Now, on the copy, if you want to copy the text and you want to copy the ref code. Now, what is a ref code? That is the book reference, the book 2-letter or 3-letter or 4-letter code for each book that we have of Ellen G. White, and then also the page and paragraph number. So if you want to copy that in your selection that you've selected here, that's what you would click on. You can go ahead and also copy the whole chapter, or you can just copy the selection. Now, you can also copy a particular range. So if, for example, here, I want to go from Christian Service, page 7, through to page 9, I could actually come through here and say, I don't want to go all the way through to page 9 in this chapter. You can do it in any of the range between the chapter. I actually want to just do it between 7.1 and 8.1, the single page. And you can do it, and then you just click on the copy range. The same thing happens in the print one. You can go through and you can select the range, print the chapter, or print the selection. Now, the next little icon here turns on or enables and disables here what you can see on the left-hand side. It's my left-hand window, which can either display all of my books or my library books, the books that I'm actually reading. So this is, my library books that I have here. Or I can go through and see the collection. And as you scroll through a book, you will notice that if you have open the table of contents or my library window, you can actually use it to navigate through that book. So as I move through the book here, you notice that it will navigate down through. And I can also use it to jump through the book and navigate through, also through my tree. Now the right-hand window here is my Search and Study Center window. Okay, so that's what this window does. If I'm going to do a search, and we'll get across here in a minute, we'll explain what happens here. My next one is my Work Center. Now in my Work Center here, I can, if I've got split windows going on, so say for example, and we'll learn that a little bit later on, I could save this setting. I could save what I've been searching for. I could save the state of my split windows. I would just come here, click on Workspace, but we'll get into more detail later on what that can do. This is just the increase and decrease of the reader font size. This one here shows or hides the ref code. So you notice that when I click, I'll put my finger up here, notice how the ref code that I spoke of before shows up. Christian Service, page 18, paragraph 1, and I can turn that off, on and off right up here. So this shows or hides my ref code. So the next one here is showing how I can turn on and off my translations, so the little translation bubble. And this enables me to access in a split window the same book and the same paragraph in another language. And we call this paralinking. So if I click on there, you'll notice now that I have open the Christian Service, and on the exactly same I have the paragraph over here. So I go like the result of the work, and you can see the resulto. So it's matched paragraph by paragraph in the Portuguese version of Christian Service. And I can't speak Portuguese, so it looks like Serviço Cristio. Oh, I'm very bad. I have no idea. I'm guessing. But I do know that this is a matched paragraph in the language, and so that's what paralinking will enable. And the last one, I'm not going to go into too much detail. This is a collections filter. This is if I have a search and I've searched for a word here, and then I have the results coming up, I can click through my next result as I go through. So if I select a result and I select the next result, I can actually come up here. Once I've selected it, and I need to select it first, I can step through result after result after result after result. So this one here is my recent searches. So it's like my search history. When I click the little down arrow, this is where I enter in my search. This is how I can delete and enter in a new search. And the last one is very important, and that is my search syntax help. You can see here that there are examples of all the different styles of search syntax that I can enter to find the words or phrases that I may be looking for. So thanks for joining us in learning how to use all of these different tools across in my Mac toolbar. Now, don't fear, we're going to spend a lot more time looking in each one individually in separate tutorials. But thanks for joining us now for another EGW Writings Tech Tips. I'm your host, Daryl Thompson. Have a nice day.